Well, happy Midweek Wednesday as we gather in the middle of the week to think about matters of faith and about our faith family called Bethel. Chances are good that you, like me, know internally or externally that we've just passed a year mark in that season that we all now know as the global pandemic that snuck up on us like a tidal wave last year, and March 15th was the last time that we were in the sanctuary without any restrictions. But we've come through a year. As I think about one of the first things I remember saying when there was nobody in the sanctuary, but we still wanted to extend our worship life on Sundays, was that I hope and pray we came back stronger. That somehow, even when we thought early on it might just be a couple of weeks, that grew into a couple of months that now, have become more extensive than we could ever have imagined a year ago, that we might use the time that was our reality to go deeper. And I hope that we have. I think about the thinking, the praying, the reading, the wrestling, the quiet, the desert that makes blue skies bluer, clarity has been part of the gift of the pandemic. So much has been lost by so many people. But let's not forget the flip side. So much maybe has been experienced, that in the midst of the loss, there have been some gifts. The gifts I see every Sunday now are people coming back. The vaccine rate is going up. People who've been vaccinated, the risk rate and the rate of infection is going down, and more people are feeling comfortable returning to worship, coming back home to Bethel, whether it's at 9 o'clock in the open air or at 11:15 in the sanctuary, and to watch almost the glistening eyes of people who are back with friends and faith family members for the first time in a year. We had a family who was visiting us this past Sunday. Their church is not yet opened. They're still doing virtual worship, but the buildings and the coming together is not yet a reality for them. But as I spoke with them, they spoke about how much they did not realize what it was like to be in community again and to be in holy space again. So that's our movement, post-pandemic, the post-pandemic church. So I want us to lean in as we head towards Easter, and then in the season of Easter, to talk about what it means to be the church post-pandemic, what we've learned, what we don't want to lose, what will be the truths that we hold on to. And I think at least there are a couple that I want to start out with today. The first is that the building, the church, is not the destination. The church is the tool. The building is the tool. I think that we've learned that our worship has continued, our ways of trying to connect, though different and at points creative and at times, less than perfect, certainly. Our attempts at building bridges across that connect us have been less than what we'd want them to be. We have seen the church as a tool that God uses, right? The church building as a tool that God uses, and the church that resides in the people, a tool that God uses. We've cared for each other. There have been the chapel Sunday school class took names of those who were more homebound, more lived in a smaller circle, a smaller world in light of the pandemic, to gather groceries or retrieve medicines or fill prescriptions, those kinds of things. And people were the church in creative ways. And I saw, and I think we all saw how the church was a tool that God was using, both the church building and the church that resides in the people of God. It's a tool for ministry that God was using. The church is not the destination. The church is the embodied tool of God to reach the world. That was one thing that I hope we don't lose. The second thing is that while we've been apart, there is nothing that replaces community. Christianity rises and falls on the belief in the incarnation. God, who is above all and beyond all, omnipotent God, chose to become God in flesh in Jesus. And because of that incarnation, the Christian faith rises and falls on incarnational ways, which means flesh and blood community. I love what Frederick Buechner says. He's writing about his own life in light of his dad's death and his mom wanting to take them to sort of heal and start a new chapter in another place. And his grandmother's thought that, no, you need to stay here and just face your pain. And he said, the trouble with steeling yourself against the harshness of reality is that the same steel that secures your life against being destroyed secures your life against being opened up and transformed by the holy power that life itself comes from. Here's the part I love. You can survive on your own. You can grow strong on your own. You can even prevail on your own, but you cannot become human on your own. We need each other and we need community. So while I think at least initially two things, the church is not the destination. The church is the tool in the hands of God. The building is a tool for ministry, and the people of God are a tool for ministry. And while all of that is true, there is nothing that replaces community. We can be strong on our own. We can prevail on our own. We cannot be human on our own. We cannot be the body of Christ unless we're connected to each other. So as we begin to live into this new era of post-pandemic church, as people more and more are vaccinated and find their way back home here at 9 or 11:15, or ways of living their faith in the world in new ways that we've discovered along the path, let's not lose the treasures that we've learned in the wilderness that has made everything more clear, the sky more blue. One final word, and that is a word about lowering the risk as the vaccination rate climbs. You're going to be seeing a word tomorrow in our e-blast that will have an opportunity for people to be vaccinated with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. This is being made possible by Plantation Pharmacy, a member friend of Bethel, has been at the forefront of this possibility now becoming a reality that the vaccine might be offered in a clinic-style fashion, a one-day clinic here at Bethel for Bethel members. And so stay tuned to that if you've not been vaccinated, but have been trying to find an appointment somewhere or trying to wait till it got to your category that you might do. Anybody who is in the workforce that is working alongside the public, no age restrictions other than post-college, but if you're working in the workforce and have not yet had a vaccine, then you'll receive a word about that tomorrow in the e-blast to take the next steps if you want to sign up for that. Once we see who wants to sign up and how many people there are, we will work with Plantation Pharmacy to set a date and open a clinic here, a one-day clinic for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It's an exciting thing. It's a wonderful gift. The generosity of great people. So stay tuned to that, and we'll continue to watch the infection rate lower, the vaccination rate rise, and we'll continue to be the church in community, the body of Christ together. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday.